Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome into the Gramlich and Mac Lane podcast. Mac, this is our last preview episode of the season without, Mac's face is like, what? Without
Are you
college.
breaking up with me?
Mac, yes, I was waiting to do this live to see how you would react.
Wow.
No, this is our last preview show for a weekend without college football playoff rankings.
Come on. It's real, baby.
Come on
I'm excited.
now.
I'm jacked up. We're going to actually look at rankings that matter, that have something to do with the future, and it's going to be fascinating. I can't wait to see. To give me a quick hot take. Just tell me where you think people will be.
Okay. Well, they're on Tuesday.
ACC. I don't care about anybody else.
Well, it is an ACC football podcast. I'll tell you this, Mac. I won't have Oregon in my top four, unlike some other people. I think it'll be good to have the playoff rankings on with the committee making picks and not certain people who just want to ruffle feathers and throw out hot
people
takes.
who get paid to ruffle feathers.
Yeah. We'll just say it that way. I think, it depends what happens this weekend. Depends what happens, of course, with Michigan and things like that.
Unfair. That's a little
But
unfair.
I think Clemson, if things hold, let's say things hold, I think Clemson will be 5, but with plenty of chances to move up. I just don't see a world where you leave out an undefeated ACC champion Clemson, especially a team that's pedigree and all that matters. And this team's won 2 national championships in the playoff era.
So do you think they'll be 5 because that's what you think, or you think they're 5 because that's you think the committee's?
I think the committee will put them 5.
Okay. Where do you think?
I think that's where the committee will put them 5. I mean, I think the Big Ten, as I've always said, is a vastly overrated product. So I don't think Michigan is better than Clemson. So I think I'd put Clemson 4 when you look at all the ranked teams they've beaten. But I think they'll put them 5. And then beyond that, if Wake wins, I think Wake should be 9 or 10. And then if Syracuse wins, I think Syracuse should be right there around the 15 mark. If UNC wins, if they hold on, they should be in the 20s. And if NC State wins, which, by the way, you will know if NC State has won because we're recording this Wednesday. What day is it? Thursday evening, Thursday afternoon. And so we will talk about NC State and Virginia Tech on Sunday. We'll recap that game. But if they hold on, I think NC State should still be ranked, maybe right around 24 or 25.
Right. So 5 ranked teams. I'm with you. I think all of that. I think.
But those are big ifs. They all got to win.
Wake Forest takes care of business. Certainly should be top 10. Carolina should probably be top 20. I
maybe
think
just 20, yeah.
Like maybe 19 or 20. Cuse should be top 15, and then NC State right on the fringe. It'll be interesting to see how they handle NC State, just because of the injuries and again, just what this game looks like that has already happened. So it'll be fun. I can't wait. But that's the most fun to debate, and then I cannot wait to see who the chair. I can't even remember who the chairman is, but the chairman that gets sent to the wolves and we grilled him on. Now, why the heck did y'all do this? What were you thinking here putting Oregon at 6? What were you thinking there? I can't wait.
The Oregon thing is baffling, and we can talk about it more next week. But yeah, they've looked good since in the Pac-12, but we saw them get blown out by Georgia, who honestly, destroyed. Who hasn't looked amazing since then? So we're forgetting about that game.
Right. I have to bring this up, too. I went on this CBS radio deal, and this host had the audacity to tell me that the Big 12 was playing better than the ACC and that the Pac-12 was playing better than the ACC. And I was just like...
The Pac-12?
I don't know if you've been watching it all.
No. No. Look at the ranked teams. Come on. Well, don't look at Oregon. I don't understand the obsession. I think they just want to keep someone in the Pac-12 relevant. And because Southern Cal lost to Utah... Now it's all about Oregon, I guess. All right, well, let's dive into our big 3 here for this weekend. And, Mac, I think this first game we're going to talk about is the most important game of the weekend for the Atlantic Coast Conference. And it is Notre Dame at number 16, Syracuse. Syracuse right now is a 2.5-point favorite. This is a noon game on ABC. Syracuse getting those noon primetime ABC slots as we all thought they would. But, Mac, this game is so important. Notre Dame, since they've come in and started playing, 5 or 6 ACC games a year, they've really dominated. And, Notre Dame's been good. Like, people say it like it's an insult. Oh, Notre Dame's dominant. Well, in those years, like 17, 18, 19, 20, Notre Dame's been very good. Now, this year they're having a down year. But this is a massive game for not just Syracuse. I hate to put all this pressure on Syracuse, but it's a massive game for Syracuse, and I think for the ACC in general, because Syracuse is such a highly ranked team.
No, I think you got to put that pressure on Syracuse. Like this is it. I mean, you've had 2 games in a row here now. One that like actually was a Super Bowl type game with Clemson to go in. Now this next one is all about perception. Even though Notre Dame is terrible, they're a bad football.
But that's the problem.
Offense.
That's
but it's
what makes
still
it
a brand.
Worse.
Nationally, if you lose this game, people are like, what are you doing? Nationally, if you win this game, they're still like, oh, my God, Syracuse beat Notre Dame. It doesn't matter what their record is. It's Notre Dame. It's a name that, for whatever reason, holds this great relevancy in college football. So, to me, I think
it's because of the 40s. It's because of the 40s.
Right. It's because of Rudy, freaking Rudy, who was offsides, by the way. Anyway, when I look at this, KG, and look at these guys, I think it's going to be interesting to see mentally, where are you? And everything that I've read, everything that I've heard interview-wise, seems like they're ready. They're bounced back. You know, they're pissed about the game against Clemson, but there's still a ton out in front of them. And I think they understand that. And as a team, very mature when you see the leadership that they have, how old and veteran these guys are, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And I think it's just next guy up. I'm very happy that this game's in the Dome. They're going to come back to a sold-out Syracuse that's going to be jumping and excited and going nuts. So all those different factors, coming to mind here, I think that's really great for Syracuse. The thing that I have to see, KG, that we must see is Sean Tucker getting the football. Like,
correct.
Get him the rock. I know that he touched it 10 times, but he only ran it 5. And Clemson took away the zone read. Don't run the zone read. Run power, run counter,
get him the ball.
Draw, run anything where he has the football. And so to me, KG, that's the biggest thing that I'm watching in this is how do they get him involved? Do not lose a game with your best weapon fully loaded, sitting there saying, what are we doing? I'm healthy. Give me the football. So that's the thing that I'm really paying attention to and watching in this game.
100%. And Dino said that in his presser this week. He said Sean Tucker, he had 5 carries, as we said. That was tied for the fewest in his career. Dino said that is unacceptable.
It's crazy.
With those 5 carries against Clemson. So I believe they're going to remedy that. I believe they're going to get him the ball. And Notre Dame they're about middle of the pack nationally in rush defense. They're giving up 140 yards per game. So they can get got in that running game. So I think Syracuse is going to take advantage of that. I love for Syracuse that they're at home. That place has been loud. The Dome has been rocking, and they have played really well at home. They're undefeated at home. My concern for Syracuse, I think they're going to get Sean Tucker the ball. I think they're going to go back to their bread and butter. But what really beat them against Clemson, and what has been an issue for them all year, is they're averaging 9.6 penalties per game. One of the worst marks in the country. And you can ask any Syracuse
people have
fan.
The audacity to complain about penalties when that's just who you are? Anyway.
Well, true. But you can ask any Syracuse fan. A few of those yellow flags, they feel like tossing the game against Clemson. And that's fine. I agree. Right. But also your team has a reputation for doing this. And I think a lot of it is that defense, Mac, which we love. Because that defense plays with an edge. But at times they do a little too much. They got to rein that in a little bit.
Right. you just have to play within the whistle, within the lines. Don't be hitting people out of bounds.
That's the problem.
And you'll be just fine. But when I look at this, matchup defensively, it should shape out really well, for the Cuse Orange. When you see that linebacking core getting after the quarterback, stopping the run, defending the pass. One guy you better know where he is, Michael Mayer, the best tight end in all of college football.
He's freaky. Better than Brock Bowers?
Draft eligible. Let me put an asterisk.
Okay, all right, got it.
Actually, I would take Mayer. He's a better tight end.
Okay.
Bowers more like an H-back. He's freaky. He's definitely a better athlete, but I want a guy that's going to block you, put your hand in the dirt.
I know you do.
So I'm going with Mayer. So you need to know where he is. And, honestly, on short yardage, on 2nd and 3, on 3rd and 3, that's who they're throwing the football to. So please do not give him 12 yards of coverage. You need to be on him. You need to press him, throw off the timing of the route, and you'll have a good shot here. And with Gadsden and the fact that he's kind of this flex tight end, I mean, we might be seeing the future of the league tight end here with these 2 tight ends. So I'm excited to see it. It's going to be a fun matchup, KG. At the end of the day, my keys for Syracuse are get your playmaker the football. I just said it 1,000 times. Sean Tucker has to be more involved. If we're going to lose a game, I would love to lose that with him getting the ball 15 plus times like that. Then I'm like, okay, we did the best we could. This was our best effort offensively. You've got to get that done.
Totally agree. I think you and I can coach that. We believe that Dino will, of course, figure that out. And I think overall, Schrader needs to play a little more consistently than he did last week. He had some great moments, and then that second half, they really struggled, and Schrader made some mistakes. So I think you'll see him bounce back. My stat for this game, and of course, this is not good, Mac, but I have to share it. Syracuse last beat Notre Dame in 2008.
Oh, it's not too far.
It was a long time ago. Mac, you and I were in high school. This was a while ago.
So
we old
long.
now. You have a kid. And Syracuse hasn't really played Notre Dame close since Notre Dame joined the ACC. They've played 4 times. None of those games have been close. So this is a little different than Clemson. We talked about that game where Syracuse has a confidence. They have played well against Clemson. They passed down the tails of the 2017 game and other games. They don't have that against Notre Dame. That being said, it's in the Dome. Syracuse is the better football team. They should win this game. Sean Tucker's going to get the rock. I'm taking Syracuse minus 2.5. That's still a pretty low number, but I mean, look, I think the Dome is probably worth 3 points. So give me Syracuse minus 2.
You're saying they win. That's all that I care about. The orange.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
should have gotten orange and had it right here and just like took a massive chunk out of it. Orange.
That would have been entertaining.
A little messy, but orange get it done.
Yeah.
I truly think that. I think that this offense is going to bounce back nicely. I think the consistency piece is a big deal. This Notre Dame defensive line is good. They're going to get after Schrader. I think the Cuse Orange offensive line has played admirably well. Got to build on that. Continue to escape the pocket. And at the end of the day, these guys take care of business. 48. Anytime I see 48, I always get hung up on KG because it's such a weird, low number.
It's a tough number.
It's just this awkward thing here. I think because the way that this could stall out with a good defensive line from Notre Dame, with a really good defense from Syracuse, I think I'm going to go under. Taking Cuse for the points, and I'm going to go under, even though I don't like that. I don't like it.
24-17, something like that.
Put me to sleep.
I think
Just
that's what we
me
see with
take
this
a
game.
nap in the afternoon.
Yeah, there may not be too much offense. Mac, a game where I think there will be offense is our next game here in our Big 3 breakdown. Number 10, Wake Forest at Louisville. This is 3:30 on ACC Network. Wake is a 3.5-point favorite. And breaking news, Eric McLean is calling this game, so I am super excited to watch this. Again, 3:30 ACC Network. So Mac is going to big time us today. He is going to break down the game, but he cannot make a pick because he's about to get on his wheels up jet and fly to Louisville. So he does not have time to make a pick. We have to understand this is what superstars do, but we can break down this game.
You're too kind. You're too kind. I can't wait for this matchup. I mean, the fact that I get to see this in person, makes it even that much better. And to call this game, which I'd love to do, and just to be on this assignment, it's going to be really fun. So very grateful for that opportunity. But when I look at it, what's crazy to me is that FBI, it favored Louisville.
Yes.
They think the Cards
Still does.
are going to rock and roll here. So it's fascinating to me, the disrespect to Wake Forest, who is the number 10 team in the country, but also the belief in the Cards, who have been on a 2-game win streak here where the first game they didn't have their quarterback. It was the first ever time that we've seen this kind of new look from them. And then the next game, it's a terrible offensive output. I think their lowest output of the season. And by the way, that was the first time in the Scott Satterfield era we've seen them come back to win a game in the fourth quarter ever. It's like 1-12 or something like that. It's crazy. So it's weird that it's not these overwhelming, dominating performances that FBI is like, oh yeah, Louisville's got this. So it's interesting to me what the FBI knows there, KG.
It doesn't make sense. But I do think being at home, there's a factor there. Because as we've said, Louisville's not played many home games, and now they're getting some home games on their schedule. But it's flat out disrespect to Wake Forest. Let's just call it what it is. Disrespect. I saw this stat came from our guy, Brian Ives. This shows, I think, why we get some disrespect for Wake, because the ESPN computers and the guys doing all this, they're not used to Wake being in the AP Top 10. The Deeks are ranked in the AP Top 10 for the second straight season after never being ranked in the AP Top 10 in the first 85 years of the poll. That is unbelievable. So these computers are just like overheating and malfunctioning because they don't know how to handle this, Matt. But you know what? We're humans with brains. We can handle it. Wake Forest is really good. And at least Vegas has them favored. At least Vegas knows what they're doing. But again, this is why Wake gets disrespect, because Vegas does this. I think Louisville has every chance to be in this game because Malik Cunningham, if he's out there for the whole game, is a special talent. But this is a game where Wake, I think, needs to go make a statement and say, yeah, we're top 10. We need to go win this game.
They've got to flex their muscles. They absolutely have to.
Yeah.
And I think when you want to, gain that respect that Coach Clawson is harping about, that all these players are harping about, it's games like this that you go on the road and you make that happen. A game where I think if you just blindly put these two teams' resumes up, you would say this isn't even going to be a close game. What are you talking about? And so, going, getting it done. Obviously, we play, the game for a reason. But when I look at Wake Forest offensively, KG, and I look at what Louisville wants to do on the defensive side of the ball, there's a little bit of caution tape here for me in regards to Louisville because those guys love to blitz. They blitz the second most in the conference here. They lead the conference in sacks. They've been really successful at doing so. On the other side of that, this is where the caution tape comes. Sam Hartman will light you up. Like, he is unreal against the blitz. He sees it. He knows it's coming. And guess what? He's throwing the ball right where you came from to one of these freaky wide receivers that most of the time it goes for a touchdown. So, to me, it's going to be fascinating to see the approach from Louisville. What are we going to do? Because this guy is so good that this guy has 70-plus passing touchdowns in the past 2 years. It's third in the entire country between the Heisman Trophy winner and the potential number one overall pick. And, two guys that are very, very good, playing at a super high level here, Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. So to me, KG, I don't know what they're going to do. I think you really try to rely on that big defensive line. You try to rely on Diaby, who's been playing at another level. I kind of count Montgomery in that too because they run an odd front. He's kind of a stand-up, outside linebacker, defensive end. Abdullah, and just get those guys going. Let them go hunt. And if you can keep guys in coverage, if you can not, try to heat Sam, Hal up where Sam Hartman, where he goes right behind you for 6, then you've got a chance. But Wake's just playing at such a high level now offensively. Their defense is playing really good. It's going to be fascinating, KG. I cannot wait to see this game in person.
Well, I can't wait to watch it. And I think that's where this game, you're right, because Louisville, they want to get after you, they want to blitz, and Wake gets the ball out so quickly that their offense is kind of made for that. But if you can get to Sam Hartman and get him on the ground, put him behind the sticks, at least I think it's worth it to not go away from what you do if you can blow up a drive or two with a blitz and slow down.
I certainly think you try. You've got to start there, and then if you get burned a couple times, it's like, okay,
you got to be smart about
what are we
going
to do? What's the reaction? What's the response there?
Exactly. With this game too, Mac, I don't want to start any rumors or anything. I don't know, but I'm not convinced that Malik Cunningham is feeling 100%. I don't know if it's the aftermath of the concussion or what, because he just hasn't looked like himself really all season. Yeah. I mean, he has 5 passing touchdowns, and this is a guy who is responsible for 114 total touchdowns as a Louisville Cardinal. So until I can see Malik Cunningham kind of be himself, which is what he did last year. This game was very close last year. It was decided by a field goal, and Malik Cunningham was exceptional. So if he's not going to be that Malik Cunningham, then I've got to lean Wake for the other reasons as well, the Wake side of it. But it just feels like he's not himself right now, Mac. Yeah. Am I off on that?
No, I agree. Everything that you've seen on film, it's just like, man, what's going on? And there's some health issues, obviously, with him having to sit out and then going in and out a couple of times in the game and not being fully himself. But this is the game to have a breakout party. I mean, this is the game where the nation's going to be watching. You're playing the number 10 team in the entire country. And quite frankly, you're going to be the best athlete on the field. So what can you go do if healthy and if, given the opportunity there? So it's going to be interesting, KG. I think it'll be great for Louisville if they get Tyon Evans back. Obviously, that 1-2 punch that they've been missing for a couple of weeks now. Just seeing who's going to step up in his place. Cooley obviously did that. Cunningham, of course, the presence that he brings running the football. But this Wake Forest defense has been playing really well of late and making great progress. They're top 10 in turnover margin. They're going to get their hands on the football. Louisville's really good at turnover margin as well. But the rush defense has been superb, these last couple of games from Wake Forest, seeing the things and how they're doing it. That big defensive line being right there, causing disruption, linebackers flying all over the place, and then, big Mustafa in the backfield, number 3 at the safety position. He's really been playing at a high level. So to me, KG, it's how do you want to attack? Because what really, I think is some of Louisville's biggest issue this year is they don't necessarily have that go-to home run deep threat. Like Hudson is trying to be that guy, and I think certainly there's been flashes of it, but there is no Tutu Atwell. There is no Des Fitzpatrick. These guys that would just take off and, 30, 40, 50 yards downfield, they're making the big-time plays. I remember a couple of years ago, and I can't remember, it had to be Tutu and Malik Cunningham, but they led the country in 90-yard passing touchdown, 80-yard passing touchdown, 60-yard, 50. Like, they don't have that. That is such a massive piece of this offense when you look at that explosive plays, that explosive home run ability, and they don't have that outside of Cunningham and the things he could do, running the football. So that's been a big problem. I think that's why we've seen this team be up and down, team of mystery at times.
Correct.
And feeling good, though, momentum. I mean, 2 in a row. Mindset is everything. Mentality is everything. Confidence is everything. And Louisville, their backs were against the wall, and they've responded.
I think they're still a team of mystery because they beat Virginia with a backup quarterback, and then they beat Pitt, really not doing anything on offense last week. So we're not sure. It just feels like there are no easy touchdowns for Louisville.
I agree. Which is crazy.
In the last couple of years, it would be a screen pass to Atwell, and he's gone. You need some of those easy plays to make your offense feel good. Here's my stat for this game, and it talks about both these quarterbacks. As I mentioned earlier, Malik Cunningham is responsible for 114 total touchdowns in his career. Sam Hartman is responsible for 110. Combined, these two quarterbacks have been responsible for 224 total touchdowns. Both these guys are two of the best that have done it in the ACC. Sam Hartman, with 3 passing touchdowns, can pass Phillip Rivers to move into second in ACC history. Mac, of course, would love to call some ACC history. Mac is not making a pick on this game, but as I said earlier, because it just doesn't feel like Malik Cunningham is that guy right now that's responsible for 114 total touchdowns for whatever reason, and because we both think Wake is good, this is a top 10 team, I think Wake finds a way. Wake minus 3.5. I think they end up winning by 10. Of course, it would be better for them if they could win this by 14 or 20 and prove a point, but I think Louisville at home is going to be a formidable foe. So I'm taking Wake.
I think that's a safe pick. And I think when you look at it and you look at how, Sam Hartman, as you said, he is special. The guy can create. He's just such a pocket presence-led guy. He knows how to get the ball to his big wide receivers. He knows in space, this is what I can do. And just the way that he runs this offense, KG, and gets it, to legitimately 5 guys that could start anywhere in the country. I've said this time and time again, and really the more film I watch on it, when I look at Ohio State's wide receivers and I look at Wake Forest wide receivers, I think you can interchange those guys easily, and you don't know who's who. Like, at the end of the day, that's how much talent there is at Wake Forest and the things that they're able to do, the problems, the matchup. I mean, it's good luck, to Louisville and what they're going to be able to accomplish. So potential for a lot of fireworks for Louisville, guaranteed a lot of fireworks for Wake Forest and the things they're going to be able to do.
Mac, I love how politically correct you were with that breakdown. You gave us Louisville positives. You gave us Wake positives. You gave us weaknesses for both teams. As a pro.
Just waving
and I know
a
you got to catch
Swedish
that
flag.
private jet.
There's a Swedish flag right here.
Yeah. You got to catch that private jet. So we'll continue on here with the show. Our final game in our big 3 is Pitt at number 21, North Carolina. UNC is a 3-point favorite. The total is 64.5 because UNC. This is an 8 p.m. game.
Can you dive into
ACC
that for a second?
Network.
Because when you say because of UNC, you of course mean, yes, they can score.
Drake May.
But what else? Their defense can't stop anything.
Well, the defense
so, of course,
as well.
There's going to be a lot
the
of
defense
points.
as well. And, that's always the question with UNC. It's like a broken record. We know that the offense is going to score near 40, and we need to know if they can hold the other team to 39. Right. I mean, that's the question. And you'd think with this Pitt team, Mac, that is really struggling offensively. They know their identity. Their identity is Izzy Abanikanda.
Right.
But you'd think teams are going to start to figure that out, even though he's just been flat out special. But the QB play, that's the big contrast in this game for me. You've got Drake May, who is playing like a Heisman hopeful. I mean, he is. And then you got Keaton Slovis, who's really struggling for Pitt.
And I think when you look at it, how good can this UNC defense play? I mean, I think that'll be what sets the tone.
Yeah.
Can they continue to build, although it be marginally, although it is 2 game-sealing interceptions to win the game for UNC? Can they take another step in a struggling offense in Pitt and turn it up a notch? The run defense has been pretty good for UNC. So now you're having a team, that's all they do. That's who they are. That's all that they can positively, gain yards and score points doing. Let's see. Stack it up. Run that box up and say, beat us with your arm. Trust your guys outside. Trust those 5-star recruits that you have at cornerback. Line them up and let's see what they can do. I think that's the next step. And again, that builds confidence for a defense in UNC that has remotely or mostly struggled here and going into the thick of this season. And, when you're starting to get to championship phase and get in November and be looking square at a potential bid for Charlotte and maybe playing a Clemson Tiger team that's loaded. So for me, that's where UNC's mindset needs to be defensively. If I'm Pitt's offense, I'm riding Izzy as hard as I can. As much as he can carry this football team, I'm giving him the ball. I'm going to look at him after every series, say, hey, how you feel? You good? Okay, let's go. Do it again. And until proven otherwise, that's what you're going to do. Would I like to see them throw the ball? Did I have way higher expectations? I did. But we're at 8-9 games in the season. You got to figure it out now. You've got to identify who you are, what you are, and move accordingly, KG.
You do. And even after the West Virginia game, I had high expectations.
300 yards, yeah. I mean, he lit it up.
But he did have an injury. I think that has been part of this, and I'm not sure how healthy he is overall. UNC's rush defense is still bad. I mean, it's because their numbers overall are bad. I mean, they're dead last in the ACC in rush defense, but it's been better than their pass defense. So you'd think maybe they could slow down Izzy Abanikanda a little bit. I also I like that UNC's at home. I don't like they're coming off a bye. UNC coming off buys under Mac Brown has not been great. It's been weird how they don't do well coming off a bye.
I think there's a little history in this game. If you think a year ago, the hurricane, the overtime hurricane up in Pittsburgh, the monsoon where it only rained, where North Carolina had the football.
That was wild.
Kenny Pickett, the heroics in that game was crazy. So I think that's in the recent memory. I think it's a sellout. So obviously Keenan's going to be jumping. Can't wait to see that environment in a night game. And then just, understanding the moment, understanding that if we win this game, it's close to a virtual lock that we're in the Coastal Champion and we're playing, in the ACC championship. It's right there. It's right there. And so,
it is.
KG, when I look at it and I think about this offense and just knowing what's at stake, understanding the personnel and the player that we have in Drake May, I think these guys roll. I mean, you're looking at a Pitt's defense that struggling. I mean, not really at all what I thought they would be this year, kind of in general with Pitt. A defensive line that they've showed flashes, but not too much consistency in regards to what we're used to seeing from them. Servassier Dennis has played really well, so you need to know where he is, identifying him at the linebacker position, and make sure you have a running back blocking him, an extra hat on the offensive line sliding to him, or just an answer in the hot game. So at the end of the day, I think that North Carolina rolls here and really, is prime and ready, for this run that they're about to go on.
Mac, the only reason why UNC loses this game is because it's a college football game. Is because
are you telling me that's what I'm going to be tweeting later that
don't
night?
Make sense. Yeah, I mean, it's true. Now, this is the Halloween weekend. Halloween is Monday. Halloween weekend. So there are spooky things that happen, and it's Coastal Chaos, which is the division that, represents Halloween and all the things that Halloween stands for. So here's my stat. UNC is 6-0 all-time at home versus Pitt. Okay, pretty good. UNC has a 95% chance to win the Coastal per ESPN. It just feels like the Coastal has honestly not been chaotic
So you're
enough.
expecting it.
And it's Halloween weekend, Mac.
Oh, no.
That being said, I'm taking UNC. They're better. They're better. They're better.
Tar! Heels! Tar!
They're better. But still, this game spooks me.
Okay.
out of all the big
I'm
three.
glad you're getting that out there. I'm just not. I'm just not spooked by it. I think that Drake is that guy.
You're not buying into my Halloween.
No, I think it's going to be rocking. I think the environment is going to matter. I think that's going to help energize these guys. I don't think, Carolina gets lulled to sleep by the 10 people that are in the crowd at the Miami game and just forget how to play football in the second half. So with all that, I think these guys play really well. So my key to the game for North Carolina is you have to protect Drake. Like, you cannot allow this, inconsistent defensive line, this defensive pass rush to have their best game, which is certainly possible. And then for the Pittsburgh side, you've got to be good in coverage. They're going to test you. They're going to push the ball downfield. Don't let Josh Downs, don't let any of these guys just go screaming down the field and have these massive plays, because your offense can't keep up. Your offense can't, score 55 if they need be. Now, if Virginia Tech was out there, we saw that you certainly can. But I think this North Carolina defense, as crazy as it sounds, is better than that. And I think they contain Izzy. So with that in mind, KG, I am also taking the heels. And I think I'm going to go under. 64 is a lot. I think Pitt struggles.
How much is Pitt scoring?
I think Pitt struggles to score.
Okay. Yeah, I can see the under there.
We'll see.
That game is spooky.
We'll see.
Okay, 3 more games to run through here. 2 very sad games, Mac. Let's talk the 2 sad games. We'll finish with Georgia Tech, Florida State. This game also is spooky. This is one of my you better not games. Boston College at UConn. You better not.
At UConn.
You better not. UConn is playing a home ACC schedule. Boston College is a 7.5 point favorite. First of all, that is embarrassing. Boston College, that you're only a 7.5 point favorite. And actually, UConn has more wins on the season than Boston College. UConn's won 3 games. They just lost to Ball State, though. So let's pull it together here, BC. I don't have much else to say. This is a noon game on CBS Sports Network, except you better not, BC. I'm taking BC minus the 7.
I went on a podcast this morning, KG, and we were talking about NFL prospects in the ACC. And the question was asked, who was the most impressive that you have seen live and in person? Out of all the great players that I've seen, I said Zay Flowers. I thought that Zay has stepped his game up so much from the past 3 years, just in regards to what he looks like physically, what he's doing, his escapability, his explosiveness. I mean, this guy can make you miss in a phone booth. He's that twitchy. And so to me, all of that is finally adding up to the on-field success in these numbers, where he's leading the ACC in receptions, he's leading the ACC in yards, he's second in touchdowns, and that I think was the last piece to where, okay, this guy's going to the Senior Bowl, he's probably going to be a top 3-round draft pick. And so with that in mind, get him the rock. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Please.
Close your eyes and throw, and he's going to be there. You're going to find this guy. This offensive line is decimated. I mean, it's starter after starter after. I mean, I don't even know who's going out there. I mean, it's like hey, student body, can you go backwards? Come on down. We need an extra guy. And so it's a tough situation for BC. This one, you got to get this dub. Don't do it. Don't embarrass the league here. Don't do it.
What's crazy about Zay and what he's doing is that there are no other threats around him. That's what's so impressive about Zay.
None that you got to worry about.
They know that the ball's going to him and he gets open.
That's crazy.
It's unreal. But anyway, that game, you better not. Okay, Miami at Virginia. This game, man. Miami's a 2-point favorite. 12:30 p.m. on Bally Sports somewhere. Find the game if you want.
Also, I'll just tell you this,
if
we have any Bristol, Connecticut listeners, it's on the Yes Network up in Bristol. Found it.
Is it really? Miami, Virginia?
Yeah, check it out.
Okay, interesting.
The same network that had all those cut-ins to Aaron Judge hitting whatever, and they are bounced, and they got swept. Thank you for interrupting.
We recall.
That's awesome. Shout out the Yes Network.
Watching Aaron Judge take walks.
I wonder if we could get the podcast on the Yes Network.
The answer is probably no. Okay, so this game, Miami's a 2-point favorite. We don't know if Tyler Van Dyke's going to play. Mario Cristobal said Tyler has improved a bunch. Status still unknown. We'll determine that later. Okay, not sure. Jake Garcia has been a little bit of a turnover machine. He's TVD's backup. This game, I expect turnovers. Virginia has 19 turnovers this season. Miami has 16. Now, they did have 8 in their most recent game. I don't know where this locker room is, Mac. I don't trust this team to go on the road.
What team are you talking about?
Miami. I mean, UVA's coming off a win.
I think it's applicable to both. Go ahead, though. I'm sorry.
Sure, but I think UVA's at least coming off a win. They did some good things on the road. They're feeling a little better. Miami, they're not sure if they have their QB, and they just got boat raced by Duke in the second half. I don't trust either team, but I think that UVA's in a better place. I'm going to take Virginia plus 2. This game is just I want to watch because I just don't know what's going to happen. But especially if Jake Garcia, if TVD plays, you're risking it here. But I'm not sure he is. I'm not sure he's going to play.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be an ugly game, like we saw Virginia in last week against Georgia Tech, where it's, hey,
they gotta win ugly.
You get the ball, I'm going to turn over. You get the ball. Here's another turnover. You take the ball, and nobody's going to want to score. I think if TVD does not play, the offense has to look a little bit different. But I mean, the decision making that we saw from Garcia was just not good, and
his picks too. Just throwing it to a dude.
It's like there was no Miami player on the
Yes.
screen. Like, what was happening?
Yeah.
So this is going to be interesting. I think the Virginia defense has been playing really well relative to the offense. They're getting after the quarterback. They have a young man who's leading the league in sacks. It's a weird vibe from both these teams, KG. So when I see this number, I'm kind of with you just because TVD's hurt. I don't know what Miami's going to look like at all. But I think it's going to be a horrible, ugly game. I think the under's surely in play. And at the end of the day, it's one of those games where somebody's got to win. So let's go with Virginia.
Yeah. You're taking UVA as well?
I mean, without TVD, I mean, who the heck is Miami?
Yeah. I also took Miami last week, and they made me regret it. So we're going with Virginia.
You're fading the Canes big time.
Yeah, I think it's smart.
I do too.
All right, our last game here, Mac, and it's a game that we also talked on Wednesday. If you missed our interview with Jordan Travis, go check it out. We really enjoyed chatting with him. He's a big country music guy when he's out there fishing. We love talking a little country music with him. Georgia Tech at Florida State. This is a noon game on ACC Network. Florida State is still a 24-point favorite. Georgia Tech is playing it coy on Sims. They're not saying that he's out, but they're saying that all three quarterbacks have taken snaps this week. FSU's coming off a bye. We know they're feeling good health-wise overall. We'll see about Treshaun Ward. And FSU's run the ball so well. They're playing well, even though they lost 3 in a row. They have to just get off of the ground and come back after 3 losses. But, Mac, I still think this is too many points.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's too many points.
It's a lot. It's a lot of points. I think without Sims, I feel uber confident about it. I think that with him, you're like, there's a shot.
And maybe he's limited. Maybe he plays some. I
don't know, KG. It's going to be something where I think the Noles are going to want to prove a point. I think that coming off of a bye week, they're going to be a little bit more energized. We heard from Jordan Travis. He said, listen, coach gave us a little extra time than normal. Guys are feeling good. Guys are confident. We came back. And I felt really good about where we were as a team. So I thought it was also really telling how we kind of ended the interview, KG, with talking with Jordan. And you asked, what are the keys to the game? And he said, just focus. He said, we have to
focus on
us. We cannot have the silly penalties. We cannot have the silly plays. We can't have miscues where I'm throwing one. He didn't say this. I'm throwing one route. The receiver's running another route. Like, we have to worry about us. And I think that's when teams start to separate. That's when teams start to, become at this elite status. And as I mentioned before, they're right in the middle of that. They're going through this transition right now. So with all of that in mind, I think I'm going with the Noles. I think that they
really
can do
okay.
It. I'm looking at my pick right here. It says 23.5. I think I'm going with them. I'm taking Florida State.
Okay. I think FSU's going to win. I think FSU is going to finish strong. I'm excited to see what this team can do for the rest of the year. Possibly finish 9-3. But it's too many points. It's too many points. Georgia Tech plus 24. Take it.
Which
people.
I get burned on these. I always get burned on these massive lines. I don't know why I think it's going to happen, but I do.
You just got to think 24 points.
I think the excitement of the Georgia Tech experiment has ran its course. I think now.
Well, the locker room for Georgia Tech's interesting.
I think it's a weird spot.
Yeah.
It's It's transitional. Point. Guys are hurt. Our best player's hurt. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? I don't know. I just.
This is the hinge game for us, Mac. This is the game that we disagree on this week.
Oh, good. Perfect. So I'm going to win. That's awesome.
Oh, good.
Do you have the record? Can you update the people on who's
yes.
Where before we get out of here?
I do. Our records so far this season.
Show me the money.
Show me the money as I'm – they're somewhere. Oh, gosh, Billy. Where did you put them? Oh, I got it. We're good. So, Eric McLean is currently top 2 out of 2 in second. He is 18 and 22. You're top 2, Mac.
Top 2.
You're top 2. 18 and 22. But recently, Mac, you've been doing really well. Recently, you have been
on the rise.
On a hot streak.
Rise. Good.
And your girl is 23 and 18.
So we're just flipped. Unbelievable.
Yeah, basically.
That's crazy.
Wait, that doesn't make sense. Then you have to be 18 and 23.
Wait,
let me double check.
Fake news.
Or you're 19 and 21.
Fake news. Oh, no.
No, I know what I did.
It's rigged.
I put.
This is unbelievable.
Because our records were 3 and 2 last week because we both missed Georgia Tech, but I put 3 and 2 for me, and I think I only did 3 and 1 for you.
Just like
you're 18 and 23.
Votes in Georgia, we need a recount. Rattle it up.
Now everybody's doubting.
I will say this, too, by the way. I am in first place on TV in the huddle by very wide margin. So this is not a true indication of my picking ability. This is just teams letting other teams kick field goals to break the points at the end of the game, which hurts my.
So what you're telling me is if I was on the hill, I'd be dominating.
That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like, KG. Unbelievable. Let me get us out of here because, as you said, I have to go catch my American Airlines flight that may or may not take off on
private
time.
Jet.
Who knows? We'll see. But that's it from us, guys. Great episode. A pretty big weekend, KG. There's a couple of games in here that I'm really interested. Can't wait to see them. Next week's a biggie. There is a ton of great games. There's like 9 games on at 8 p.m. I don't know how we're going to watch all these games.
Let's go.
We'll be heading to NC State. Cannot wait to be on the ground there. That's going to be super fun. But that's it from us. We'll be back Monday to break this whole thing down. Can't wait to talk with you guys. Go over to YouTube. Go over to SiriusXM. Go over to Apple Podcasts. What else are we on? I think we're on Amazon. There's a couple other places
we're everywhere.
You can find us. Just search
everywhere.
Ramlick and McLean. We need you guys to lock in, subscribe, rate, review. It's always fun to hear from you guys. But until next time, we'll see y'all.